Hi everyone, we're going to find the domain, locate any intercepts, and graph f of x. And based on the graph, find the range and test for continuity and evaluate here. And the first thing I want to do is just look at our domain. Our domain values are right in here. So basically it's saying your domain is all numbers less than 0, all numbers greater than 0, and all numbers x equals 0. So that means that our domain is all real numbers. So our domain is all real numbers. We can look at that. You can look at that without looking at the graph. So now the next thing we're going to do is test for continuity, see if this graph is continuous. And the first thing I need to do is look at the definition, and it must meet these three conditions. This is the definition. So the first condition, we have to go in order, is that f of c exists. So our c is 0, because at 0 is where the graph is changing. It's changing from x squared to a point to a linear line. So that's how the graph's changing around 0. So let's just see if c is 0, what is f of 0? So f of 0 equals 2. Okay. Now, so condition 1 is satisfied, and now we're going to test condition 2. So condition 2 means the limit as x, we're looking at this, x approaches 0 from the left, that's our c, of our function, equals the limit as x approaches 0 from the right of our function. So basically what this is saying is, if you're looking at the graph, you're looking at what's going on with the graph. What is it getting close to your y value when it gets close to 0? And please notice that these are all numbers that are less than 0 on this side. And for the right, this is to the right, that means what is going on when you approach 0 from the right. And if you notice that, all the numbers on this side are greater than 0. So that's what you test. You're going to plug in your c. So the left means this one. So plug in 0 in there. You get 0 squared equals 0. Now from the right, we're going to use this one. So plug in 0 into this x, and you get 2 times 0 plus 1. That equals 1. So we basically have 0 equals 1, which is not true. So the left-hand limit does not equal the right-hand limit. Therefore, the limit doesn't exist, and condition 2 fails. If condition 2 fails, there's no need to go on to condition 3. So this function is going to be discontinuous. And when we look at the graph, you can see why. All right, so here we go. Let's graph this. And we're going to graph from left to right. So we're starting with this. We start at 0. And at 0, 0, I don't like to put the 0 there because it looks like an open interval. So if you plug in 0, 0 squared is 0, but it can't equal it. All right? Then plug in, you got to, since it's squared, you got to plug in at least 3 points. So let's plug in negative 1 squared. So at negative 1, that equals 1. And then we have to, so that's negative 1, negative 2. Plug in negative 2 squared, and that's going to equal 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you got at least 3 points, so you know this is a curve. It's not a line. So it's just going to continue up indefinitely. Now for the second portion, we have x equals 0. So it's x equals 0, that equals 2. So there's that. Now you go to this one. So this is for all numbers greater than 0, but we still use the 0. So you plug in the 0, you get 1. But that's going to be an open interval. All right, so at the open interval, you start there. Now let's plug in 1 to the right. You plug in 1, you get 2 times 1 plus 1. That's going to go to 3. 1, 2, 3. The slope is 2, and so you know it's a straight line and the slope is 2, so you can kind of draw it and just keep going on. And that's your graph. So now you can see why this is discontinuous. You start from the left, you can draw all the way down here, but then you have to jump all the way here up to here. So this part's called the jump discontinuity. And then here with this point here, this is called, I'll just draw an arrow here. This is called a point discontinuity. This is just a singular point. Discontinuity. All right. Now, let's state our domain. Again, the domain is all real numbers because this goes, if you're looking from left to right, the arrows are going to go from negative infinity to infinity. Or you can say x belongs to all real numbers. Our range, let's look at what's going on with the range. As we're going up here on the range, we don't have any values for 0. All right, but we do start having values really close to 0 here, all the way up. And same thing for here. So basically your range is y is greater than 0. Or you can say 0 to infinity. And then intercepts, we only have a y-intercept here at 0, 2. All right, and I think that's it. So let's evaluate these. We have negative 2, that belongs to this upper portion. So negative 2 squared equals 4. You have equals 0 goes here, that just equals 2. And then for 2, that goes in this part. So you plug in 2 times 2 plus 1, and that equals 5. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.